Mick and Olivia are former college lovers. They transcend from being just friends to dating, falling in love, and now living together and running a business together, and they still have eyes for each other. They both put in their best to make sure Willow Wedding Resort is one of the best wedding destinations in Vermont, and this pays off massively as their resort witnesses weddings from people of caliber and high standing in their community. Olivia comes out of the house to see her partner singing and playing the guitar. It's one of his pastimes and something he enjoys doing. He still looks as handsome as before, and she sits with him and compliments his skill. She tells him she loves when he plays, and most importantly, she loves him too. Mick accepts the compliment and asks that she fill him in for the weekend. She reveals everything is set for the weekend. Russo Atwell's wedding is right on track. Mick is happy to hear this. He tells her that since everything is perfectly planned, it will give them a chance to get a few days away. They have been working too hard and need a little couple's getaway. Olivia is filled with excitement as she tells Mick that his plan sounds incredibly romantic. Curiously, she asks him where he is taking her. Mick's surprising response is L'Auberge at Lake Champlain. Olivia can hardly believe it, as securing a reservation there without booking 6 weeks in advance is nearly impossible. Mick explains that he managed to pull a few strings and secure a reservation for Sunday. Olivia clarifies whether he means tomorrow, but her excitement is quickly dampened as she remembers they have a wedding to host at their resort in just 8 days. However, Mick reassures her that it won't be a problem. They have both been working tirelessly since Valentine's Day, and they desperately need a break. Taking a moment to reflect on their achievements, Olivia acknowledges that their hard work has indeed paid off. Their occupancy rate has risen, and the number of wedding bookings has doubled. Mick reminds her that amidst all their success, their relationship has been neglected, which isn't what they want. After careful consideration, Olivia agrees with him. They deserve this little getaway, but first, they need to ensure that everything is in order at their resort. In order to make their getaway possible, Mick and Olivia realize they need to have a conversation with Duke, their dependable kitchen manager, who has been a tremendous support to their business. As they share their plans with him, he assures them that he can handle the responsibilities of the resort while they are away. However, Olivia raises a valid concern, noting that Duke is already heavily occupied in the kitchen, and it wouldn't be fair to burden him with managing the resort affairs as well. Understanding their concern, Duke confidently assures them that he can manage the resort with the assistance of the interns. Abby, the bride-to-be, is counting down the days until her marriage to Rob, who comes from a wealthy family of lawyers. The thought of becoming a member of their influential household leaves her in disbelief. Currently working as a barista, she shares her wedding plans with her close friend and co-worker. She discusses the venue and their future move into the house Rob has been renovating even before they met. During their conversation, Abby confides in her friend Lena about her aspirations to return to law school after getting married, even though she isn't enthusiastic about being a lawyer. While she enjoys her artistic side gig of selling artistic pieces, she expresses her desire to achieve more and not rely solely on Rob for financial support. Lena is her chief bridesmaid. Abby mentions that Rob's extended family will be in attendance, highlighting her own lack of close family relations. Lena comforts her, assuring Abby that she is an exceptional person. She encourages Abby to dismiss any negative thoughts, emphasizing that Rob is the fortunate one to be marrying someone as wonderful as her. Abby's phone rings. It's her fiancé on the other end. Rob tells her he's on his way to pick her up, and adds that he has a crazy idea. As soon as he sees her, he compliments her beauty, and he also shares his plan. They will spend the night at his parents' house today, and head to the resort tomorrow. Abby's face lights up with delight, loving the unexpected adventure. As they arrive at Rob's parents' house, Abby is left breathless by the sheer size and splendor of the mansion. Rob had previously mentioned that his parents downsized to a smaller place, but to Abby, this mansion feels as majestic as Buckingham Palace. She realizes that Rob's family is exceptionally wealthy, a level of luxury she never experienced while growing up. She grew up in a shabby apartment and slept on a worn-out mattress. Stepping out of the car, she starts to feel a bit underdressed for the occasion. Rob also mentions that his sister, Kelsey, is around at the house. They are planning to have a family dinner together, which fills Abby's heart with warmth and a sense of belonging. The Atwell family eagerly steps out to welcome the soon-to-be couple, Rob and Abby, showering them with warm hugs. As they gather around the dinner table, Rob's parents inquire about their decision to move to the resort the next day. Rob explains that they are excited to explore the venue before the wedding festivities commence. Joining the conversation, Kelsey, Rob's sister, mentions her plan to wear Laubautin shoes as a bridesmaid, acknowledging that it may not match the other bridesmaids' attire. Abby assures her that it's absolutely fine, and not a problem. Following the delightful dinner, Rob's mother takes him aside for a private conversation. She reveals her intention to invite some of their father's work partners to the wedding. However, Rob expresses concern, explaining that Abby has meticulously prepared the guest list, and he doesn't want to disrupt it. Despite his reservations, his mother insists that these partners could potentially be valuable connections for Abby's future endeavors, particularly if she decides to pursue law school again. Mick and Olivia finally reach their destination, the resort brimming with anticipation. Little does Olivia know, Mick has a surprise in store for her, the same ring he gifted her years ago, as a symbol of their enduring love. Meanwhile, back at the inn, Abby and Rob decide to check in earlier than planned. Upon their arrival, they are warmly greeted by Duke, who informs them that a room is available. Abby seizes the opportunity to request a meeting with Olivia, as she has some important changes to discuss. Just as they engage in conversation, Grace enters the scene, accompanied by her recently engaged fiancé, Eric. Grace exchanges pleasantries with Duke and eagerly asks about her mother's whereabouts. Duke shares the news that both Mick and Olivia are currently enjoying a short getaway. As Mick and Olivia bask in the beauty of their surroundings, seated by a softly crackling fire, Mick eagerly awaits the right moment to unveil the surprise he has prepared for Olivia. Just as he plans to reveal it, Olivia's phone rings, and it's her daughter Grace calling from the inn. Excitedly, Grace shares the news that her boyfriend Eric proposed to her a few days ago, and they both want Olivia to be there, as they have some important information to share. Meanwhile, Duke reaches out to Mick, informing him that the soon-to-be-wed Russo-Atwell couple has arrived, and is seeking Olivia's presence. They have some modifications to discuss regarding their wedding plans. After receiving the calls, Mick and Olivia make a joint decision. They decide to cut short their vacation and head back to the resort the next day. Abby previously shared her excitement with Rob's parents about getting married at the same location where they had their wedding. After seeing a picture with Kelsey, she hoped her own wedding would be just as perfect as theirs. However, Rob's mom dismissed the possibility, which only heightened Abby's insecurities. Now, at the inn, Abby and Rob are taking a walk together. Abby expresses her desire to change their original plan of having the wedding at the barn. She also requests a switch from her beloved daisies, which she had initially chosen for her bouquet, to hydrangeas, the same flowers Rob's mom had at her own wedding. While Rob promises to discuss these changes with Olivia, he also admits that he personally prefers Abby's original choice. Olivia is currently spending the entire evening with her daughter and her fiancé. As they sit together, Olivia eagerly listens to her daughter sharing the exciting story of Eric's proposal. Her daughter describes how Eric invited her over to his house, cooked a meal, then got down on one knee to ask for her hand in marriage. Olivia is thrilled by the news and takes the opportunity to mention that June would be the perfect time for Grace's wedding, considering the ideal weather conditions during that month. Meanwhile, Mick is determined to meet Abby's request for a change in the bouquet for the wedding. His intern has informed him that hydrangea flowers are currently out of season, so he is actively searching for alternative sources. However, Mick understands that it's important not to burden Olivia with wedding planning responsibilities, so he doesn't involve her. He wants her to enjoy as much quality time as possible with her daughter, without worrying about the Russo-Atwell's wedding arrangements. Duke is currently instructing a new group of interns on how to properly use cutlery while cooking. As he's in the middle of the training, Olivia approaches him with a series of questions about the new order, an arrangement of outdoor tables, decor, and chairs planning she stumbles upon. Duke then informs Olivia that Rob and Abby have had a change of heart, and now plan to have an outdoor wedding by the lakeside. Olivia is visibly displeased, feeling left out of the loop, so she decides to seek out Mick for more information. Upon meeting Mick, Olivia expresses her frustration at not being informed about the change in wedding plans. Mick explains that he purposely kept her in the dark, because he wants her to focus on Grace and preparing for the wedding. Olivia understands the significance of the decision, but she still voices her concerns. However, Mick assures her that everything is under control, and there's no need to worry. Meanwhile, Eric, who happens to be a band leader, has made the decision to use Mick's storehouse as a practice space for his upcoming band tour. Mick enters the storehouse and is impressed by Eric's guitar skills. They engage in a brief conversation where Eric updates Mick on the details of his upcoming tour. Olivia has eagerly awaited her daughter's wedding, and she is thrilled that it is finally becoming a reality. However, her enthusiasm has led her to become somewhat fixated on planning every detail of Grace's special day. Currently, Olivia is seated with Grace, engrossed in a discussion about wedding plans. Unexpectedly, Grace informs her mother that they have yet to choose a date for the wedding. Olivia, trying to ease Grace's worries, confidently assures her that she has already checked the calendar and discovered that June 9th is available, deeming it the perfect day for the wedding. Grace is taken aback by her mother's excessive involvement in the planning process, finding it overwhelming. Just then, Eric enters the room and reveals that he will be departing for his upcoming tour. Olivia, hoping for his assistance in wedding preparations, expresses her expectation for him to stay. However, Grace interjects, reminding everyone that the wedding is still a year away, emphasizing that they have an ample amount of time to plan everything. Abby confides in her best friend about her insecurities regarding her upcoming marriage. She expresses her concerns about Rob's family's affluent lifestyle, mentioning the extravagant mansions they reside in, as well as Kelsey's impeccable taste in high-end fashion. On top of that, Rob has proposed the idea of Abby immediately returning to law school after their wedding, which she isn't keen on, since she wants to prioritize nurturing her artistic side first. Seeking comfort, Abby's friend suggests that her worries may be a result of bride stress syndrome, causing Abby to burst into laughter, accusing her friend of making up the term. Nonetheless, Abby can't help but feel that Rob's family's financial status has an impact on her decision-making process, which adds to her uncertainties. Abby sits by the tranquil lake, observing the graceful ducks as she pours her thoughts into writing her wedding vows. Mick joins her, taking a seat beside her. Concerned, he asks if everything is all right. Abby confides in him, sharing that she and Rob had a small disagreement. Rob said some hurtful things, and now Abby is unsure how to address the issue and find resolution with him. Mick reassures her, drawing from his experience witnessing countless weddings, that arguments are common, even in the midst of wedding preparations. He assures her that everything will eventually work out. Just then, Kelsey arrives at the inn and is introduced to Mick as Abby's future sister-in-law. Kelsey mentions that her bridal dress requires some alterations, and she asks Abby to accompany her to the bridal shop for assistance. Meanwhile, Rob, who went to pick up his wedding suit, decides to seek advice from his father on how to apologize to Abby for their argument. Rob's father suggests a thoughtful gesture, such as getting a sweet treat like a cake or donuts, along with heartfelt reassurances of his love. He advises Rob to sincerely apologize afterward. Thanking his father for the guidance, Rob appreciates the thoughtful advice. While the bridal shop buzzes with ongoing alterations, Kelsey's eyes catch sight of a breathtaking wedding dress and she urges Abby to try it on. Abby, content with her already chosen dress, initially declines, but Kelsey insists. Reluctantly, Abby gives in and slips into the dress. As Abby twirls in front of the mirror, Kelsey can't help but gush. Abby takes a closer look at her reflection. The dress is undeniably gorgeous, but it doesn't quite align with her personal style. Later, Kelsey and Abby find themselves strolling together, deepening their bond. Abby, feeling nostalgic, asks Kelsey if she can recall the cake her parents had at their wedding. Kelsey furrows her brow, digging into her memory until she triumphantly exclaims it was pistachio-flavored. Abby, enchanted by the uniqueness of the choice, muses aloud about today's monotonous wedding cake options, which are mainly red velvet and vanilla. Suddenly, Abby begins reconsidering her decision to have a red velvet cake at her own wedding. She decides to change it to a pistachio-flavored cake. Meanwhile, Rob arrives at Abby's room, anticipating her presence. Not finding her inside, he patiently waits, eager to make amends for his earlier words. When Abby returns, he immediately apologizes and, in a surprising turn, she confides in him for the first time. She admits to him she isn't interested in being a lawyer and reveals her secret desire to become an artist. As Rob grasps her hand, he promises unwavering support, assuring her that he will stand by her, regardless of the career decision she makes. Drawing her closer, he tenderly kisses her, sealing their connection. Mick, who initially believed that everything was going smoothly, is about to encounter a major surprise. First, his intern, who promised to arrange the specially requested French blue hydrangea bouquet for Abby, informs him that her grandma may not be able to deliver it on time due to sourcing difficulties. The flowers are out of season, causing a delay. Adding to the complications, Mick receives a notification that instead of the 2 vans he requested for transporting the guests, only 1 van is available. Feeling concerned, Mick heads to the storage area to inspect the tents for the outdoor reception, only to discover that they are missing. He turns to Duke for answers, who reveals that Olivia discarded the previous set of tents weeks ago and ordered a new set, which won't arrive for a few weeks. Mick is at a loss for words. He suggests contacting their competitors to seek assistance, but Duke advises against it, believing it to be a bad idea. Duke recommends informing the couple to stick to their original plan, as the time constraints make the new changes unfeasible. However, Mick feels obligated to keep his promise and cannot back out. Abby has made a significant change for her wedding by switching to a dress that resembles the one worn by Rob's parents when they got married. She discusses this decision with Kelsey, who supports her choice. Just then, there's a knock at the door, and Lena enters the room. Abby introduces Lena to Kelsey, but Lena is taken aback when she sees 2 dresses. Confused, she asks Abby what's happening, and Abby explains that she has changed her dress and even her bouquet. Lena is shocked and disappointed by Abby's drastic changes. While she understands Abby's insecurities, she never anticipated such extreme measures. Lena reminds Abby that she has always known her love for daisies, and questions why she chose such an elaborate gown instead. Feeling the tension, Lena retreats to her room. However, Abby follows her, explaining her choices for the changes, and expressing her desire for a perfect wedding. Later in the evening, Rob asks Duke to prepare a special dinner for 2. His intention is to have some alone time with Abby, during which he plans to express how incredibly lucky he feels to have her in his life, and how excited he is about spending the rest of their lives together. Abby takes the opportunity to tell Rob how extraordinary he is, and how she knew from the very first day that he was special. Meanwhile, in the adjacent room, Olivia, Mick, and Grace are having dinner. Grace is set to leave the following day to embark on the tour with her fiancé's band. Over the meal, Grace shares that she has chosen June 9th as the date for her wedding. Olivia becomes ecstatic upon hearing this news, and Grace also communicates how relieved she feels that her mom has taken the burden of wedding preparations off her hands. She also takes a moment to express her deep appreciation for everything her mom and Mick have done. After dinner, Rob and Abby make their way to the kitchen to thank Duke for the exquisite meal he prepared. As they enter the room, they discover Mick and Duke engaged in a conversation. It becomes apparent that there has been an error with the labels on the wine bottles intended for the special day. Each bottle bears an incorrect date. Seizing the opportunity, Mick also informs them of the challenges he's been facing, including issues with the van, the tent, and the hydrangea bouquet that Abby had requested. Both Abby and Rob express their disappointment upon learning about this new development. Olivia and Mick kiss Grace goodbye and watch her drive off the resort. Mick turns to his partner and embraces her tightly, assuring her that they will have a fantastic getaway once the Russo-Atwell wedding is over. As the wedding guests start to arrive, Olivia joins them to make sure everything is in place. Mick takes a moment to update Olivia on the challenges he has been facing. Olivia is taken aback by the surprising revelations. Meanwhile, Rob finds himself surprised by Abby's unexpected changes in their wedding plans. She seemed to not be confident in all her prior plans. From the venue to the cake, bouquet, and even the wedding dress, everything seems different. Intrigued, Rob turns to his sister and asks if she has been secretly influencing Abby's sudden transformation. His sister explains that she merely responded to Abby's inquiries about their parents' wedding. Rob then realizes that Abby's motivation for the changes stems from her desire to please their parents, and he isn't excited about this, as he wants her to be her own person. Lena and Abby are in a room together. Lena raises a question, wondering why Abby has changed her mind about her original wedding choices. Abby explains that she decided to make a switch to something that will resonate with Rob's family, hoping it would help her connect with them. Lena advises her that staying true to herself is the best way for them to truly know her. During the wedding practice, Abby arrives at the field and spots Jean and Bert, Rob's parents, along with Kelsey. She goes over to them, and they compliment the beauty of the resort. Suddenly, Mick appears, concealing something behind his back. He surprises Abby by revealing a bouquet of French blue hydrangeas, exactly as she requested. Excitedly, she shows it to Rob's mom, mentioning that it's the same bouquet she had at her own wedding. Rob's mom seems momentarily surprised before sharing her own wedding story. She confesses that she had actually forgotten the details, because she was miserable at the time. Her mother-in-law took control of everything, from the bouquet choice to an unappealing pistachio-flavored cake. Even the outdoor venue she chose ended up being waterlogged. While Rob's mom speaks, Abby realizes her mistake in trying to mimic Rob's parents' wedding, as they considered their own wedding a disaster. Filled with regret, Abby walks away. Mick notices how upset Abby is and decides to follow her, hoping to lift her spirits. Abby confides in him, expressing her feelings of foolishness for attempting to recreate something that turned out to be a complete disaster. Mick reassures her, emphasizing that what matters most is her ability to learn from the experience and move forward. Abby expresses her gratitude for his advice. Soon after, Rob approaches Abby and bursts into laughter. He reveals that he had no idea she was trying to replicate his parents' wedding, and only recently discovered it. Realizing there is still time for a change, they both approach Mick and inform him of their revised plans. They want to stick with the original idea, having the wedding in the barn, a velvet-flavored cake, and a bouquet of daisies. Mick willingly agrees to accommodate their wishes, relieved that sticking with the initial plan alleviates the stress from his shoulders. It's the wedding day, and Abby wakes up with an overwhelming sense of excitement. Today, she will legally join the man she considers the best in her life, Rob, and celebrate their dream wedding. Just as she is getting ready, Kelsey pays her a visit and expresses her joy at having Abby become a part of her family. Abby is touched by Kelsey's words and pulls her into a heartfelt embrace. As Abby arrives at the wedding venue, everything falls into place, just as they planned. The exquisite velvet cake, the meticulously crafted daisy bouquet, and the rustic charm of the barn all perfectly represent Abby's true essence. The radiance of happiness from both her and Rob's families fills the air, making Abby feel truly welcomed and loved. Overwhelmed by joy, Abby is confident that her future with Rob will be an exhilarating adventure. She takes a moment to express her heartfelt gratitude to Mick and Olivia for their patience and flexibility in accommodating their ever-changing decisions. Abby eagerly looks forward to her happily ever after. After the wedding ceremony, Mick takes Olivia to a secluded spot at the resort, where he has prepared a surprise for her. The moment Olivia sets her eyes on it, she can't contain her excitement, and lets out a scream of joy. It is the very same easel and sheet of paper where she and Mick first met decades ago in college, evoking a rush of cherished memories. Seizing the opportunity, Mick gives Olivia a thoughtfully chosen surprise, a promise ring. Brimming with happiness, Olivia extends her hand as Mick slides the ring onto her finger, pledging to always be by her side, to appreciate her, listen to her, and above all, to love her unconditionally. In that moment, Olivia's certainty in Mick as her soulmate grows stronger than ever, knowing that he is the one with whom she will journey through life.